Hello and welcome back to Sisterhood. Yes, this time it's Sisterhood, and I am so happy that you are joining us for this edition of Sisterhood. We're talking about seasons of life, and it is going to be absolutely amazing. So, welcome to all of you that have already joined. I know Debbie is on. Welcome to everyone who is joining us on YouTube, everyone on Facebook, those on LinkedIn. It's always a pleasure to have you join us, especially those who join us live, so we can hear everything you have to say. We can read your thoughts on, your comments and all of that. It's just really beautiful to get the different feedback inputs, different perspectives. Because, there's a way somebody will think, oh, this is the way. And then you now see that there are so many other perspectives, and it just brings balance to whatever it is we're discussing. On this show, we bring you valuable information to help you make better decisions in your lives and in your relationships. And today is going to be another value-packed edition. You don't want to hear about it. So if you're here already, don't go anywhere. And then, next thing you need to do is invite your friends and your loved ones, all the ladies and all the men who love the ladies, who love them is the good kind of love. All the men who are interested in the well-being of the ladies, yes, please invite them so that they come on and partake of the goodies that we are going to have on this show today. And then if you have not yet subscribed, I'm really thinking about it right now, like what could be the problem? I don't know. So please, could you just go ahead and subscribe if you have not done so? And as you watch this show, just like when you hear something good, like, you can like 10 times. Like if it is that is only one like that is permitted, then go over to the comments and give us the additional thumbs up. Yes, that's what we want. It helps, it helps the program, it helps the show, and we can get this message to many more people when you respond, and it is clear that people appreciate this. Okay, so let's see. I'd like to see the comments so that we can say hello to a few other people. McFred, hey Debbie, and I can see McFred, and I see we have a few people on Facebook and a few people on LinkedIn. Yes, okay, so you are all welcome. So please remember, our live audience, we really need you to engage. So as we're going through, feel free to leave a comment, feel free to ask a question, just chime in and let this conversation happen. Okay? All right, so I'm sure you're wondering, what are we talking about on Sisterhood today? Is it a topic that we're going to address? Which matter are we going to settle today? Well, today a lot of matters are going to be settled. And we're going to do that in storytelling format, okay? I have a very special guest with me in the studio. I will soon introduce her. She's a dear friend, and we've known ourselves for, let me see, like almost 30 years now.
Yes.
That long. It's so long. You'll just be thinking, it's interesting how time flies. Yes, we've known ourselves for such a long time, and she is a wonderful person. She's a HR professional. I'll read her details for you because, it's something to not just brush over, okay? So she is, and I'll tell you her name, you'll soon see. Toun Tunde-Anjous is a distinguished HR and culture expert with over a decade of experience in various sectors, including tech, oil and gas, and investment management across sub-Saharan Africa. She is the founder and CEO of the People Practice, a dynamic HR solution firm based in Lagos, Nigeria. The People Practice focuses on helping startups and small businesses scale and enhance their impact through bespoke, people-centered strategies. I think I really like that part.
Yes.
Because it's not just, how you say, oh, it's bespoke, oh, it's this one, it's top-notch, but it's people-centered. So whatever solutions you're bringing, the strategies you're bringing forward is really helping people. I really like that part. Then, Toun's expertise spans recruitment, culture creation and alignment, training, and strategic people management, making her a pivotal figure in reshaping workplace culture in Africa.
Yes.
So in case you're having trouble on the job and you're wondering who do I talk to, you can reach out to Toun on LinkedIn. Yes. Prior to founding the People Practice, Toun was the director of people at Co-Creation Hub.
Yes.
I was like, wow. This was interesting. In fact, I wanted to call you and say, is this true?
Yes.
Yeah. Where she managed people operations across Nigeria, Rwanda, Kenya, and spearheaded partnerships with major corporations such as Facebook.
Yes.
And the U.S. Consulate.
Yes.
Her academic background includes a degree in economics from the University of Nottingham, and a master's in human resources management from Aberdeen Business School. See, this is rich. It's a rich something today. Okay, and that's from Robert Gordon University. She's a recognized top HR voice on LinkedIn. In fact, let me say it well. Recognized as a top HR voice by LinkedIn. Yes. She's the author of Your Interview Cheat Code. Now, the title alone says a lot. People are always looking for chokes and stuff. And, it's like, okay, for exams, maybe somebody talked to the lecturer, something, and then you got inside information for the people who subscribe to that way of life. But when you come to an interview, what do you do? How do you prepare? What kind of leverage can you have? And yes, she has this book. She wrote Your Interview Cheat Code, and has been featured on platforms like BBC Africa. Oh, you have been featured on BBC Africa. I mean, BBC. When you enter BBC,
twice actually.
Wow. You get to all them CNN, it's like, okay, you have arrived. It has to be that you know what you're doing. If not, you will not be on those platforms. So this is really beautiful. Yes, for sharing her insights on workplace culture and harassment and so on. I mean, this is so rich and this is so beautiful. So everybody join me in welcoming Toun Tunde-Anjous.
Yay!
Drum roll! I hope you can hear it. Yes, so, Dara Benny is here. She says, good evening, everyone. Welcome, Dara Benny. It's good to have you here.
Hi.
Yes, so it's going to be an interesting one today, and we'll just delve into it. So, Sisterhood! Where are all the ladies? We want to help all the ladies.
Yes, we do.
Both the young and the
less
older.
young.
The young and the younger. In fact, let's put it like that because everybody, we're all young.
Younger, yes.
The young and the younger, whatever phase of life you are in, whether it's you're still really young, like you're a child, or you're in university, or you are a young, young adult, single, married, we're just going to talk about seasons of life. And today our subject is Toun.
Yay.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So we'll delve into her life. She'll tell us her story and stuff like that. And please, this is part of learning how to draw value. Okay? It's not when somebody tells you 1 + 1 is equal to 2.
True.
I can tell you something like, I had 1 orange and I added another orange, and at the end of the day I had 2 oranges. I've just told you that 1 + 1 is 2.
Equals 2.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's how we're going to do on this show today. So please be ready to draw all the insights, draw all the lessons, draw all the stuff that you can apply in your life and make things better for yourself and for those around you. Okay. So, you ready?
I am.
How do you feel?
Very ready. Pumped. Good to go.
Okay, all right, let's do this. So, let's start from childhood. So just give us, how they start novels. Just give us the background, the setting.
So I guess if I'm thinking of childhood, I think setting would always start in Ife. So I was born to lecturers. At the time, my father was a medical doctor. He's late now, but he was a lecturer in the Faculty of Medicine. And my mom is, she's still in academia, but she was a lecturer in pharmacy, in the pharmacy faculty. So I was born into a very science, home where everyone was so intelligent. They had literally just moved back from England at the time because they were there doing their their masters. They had been sent as very smart people to go
Oh,
and do their masters, come back.
interesting.
So I was born there, came back, but childhood is Ife. It's always Ife. It's always university campus. I Everything was so peaceful. Everyone was so happy. You didn't have gates. You didn't have.
Yes, I
It
know. I've
was
been
you
there.
had fruits. Exactly. We had fruit. We had some fruits that I don't really see anymore, but we used to call them like Nigerian apple. But that was literally childhood. Everyone could run. We're very safe. I mean, things still happened. There were a few things that may have happened when we're young, like me avoiding being kidnapped, but not quite kidnapped, but kidnapped by some students who didn't want to do their exams, so they wanted to take some lecturers' kids, and my parents being quite vocal, I was one of the ones they were coming for. But I kind of
Wow.
knew. So a teacher had allowed me hide and run into the bush or forest or something with my younger brother.
Interesting.
But yeah, so childhood is always Ife. Always. I loved Ife. I loved even till now, we go anywhere, you see an Ife person and it's like, campus kids,
Yeah.
all our parents were, we felt like we're very smart because our
Yeah.
parents were smart.
So I actually experienced the campus there because my
Yes.
uncle was a lecturer there. Yeah,
Ah,
Dr. Victor Ekong,
wow.
computer and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and we were there for a short holiday, and it was just beautiful. I liked how green it was and stuff. So really cool, and some caring neighbors, because I remember when we we put a shuttle on the roof and we went to get it, and she came out to tell us,
Wow.
"Get down! You're playing with fire." Yeah, so I can completely relate with that.
Yes,
background.
yes, yeah. So that was childhood for us. We had a dog. The dog was Benny.
Oh,
We had that dog, so we felt like a very complete family. 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, mom and dad. It was really complete. I felt like we had everything we
Everything,
needed. And once in a while, we had our grandparents who would come and join us. In Ife once in a while. So that was childhood.
that's
I
so
d-
rich and beautiful. I think it was a happy childhood.
it
Right?
was a happy childhood. It was a happy childhood. Yeah.
Interesting. So you know how you think that children may gravitate towards what their parents, do for a living, right? They may try to become, like daddy or like mommy. So one would think, okay, I'm sure she's going to be a scientist of some
Yep.
sort, or maybe
Yep.
go into the medical field or something. So, were there any, apart from just knowing what they were doing, what kind of influence did they have on you on what you thought the future
Well,
would
yes,
be like?
they obviously had a very strong influence. My parents were young, or at least younger than our generation was when we were getting married and having kids. So they were younger, so they were very involved. But very early on, I knew. Initially, I started off wanting to study pharmacy because my
Okay.
mom was so cool. Then she was so cool. She was literally what you wanted to be. I liked to go in with her to, lectures once in a while, just getting. And I saw how people were just really like, "Oh my God, we love you" to her. And I thought, yeah, I'd like this. And she was very brilliant. At the time, I didn't go with my dad as much, but they obviously had a very strong influence because my older brother now is a medical doctor, so he literally followed my father in his footsteps. But one thing I knew very quickly was that I was different. Different in that I would train my mind often. But I used to do a lot of, very at the time seemed like very quirky things. I would write music, I would write songs, I would write poetry, I would dance, I would, perform. That was
Okay,
it.
so
I
some
was a
creative, stuff
performer.
coming up there.
And we're a very musical family, so we would we probably watch Sound of Music at least, and I'm not trying to put it at least 1,000 times. I've watched Sound of Music as that. Give me any lyric from any point, not just singing. I would tell you where it was, what scene. So we're very big on performing, and our parents would allow us. They would encourage us to perform all these things. So it wasn't just Sound of Music. So Seven Brights for Seven Brothers.
Oh, you watched
Oh, we
that?
watched it. I was trying to show my kids that the other day because I was like, it's not a movie that is really talked about, but you need to know it. And then
Yeah.
the third one was Chocolate Factory. So, and they're all very singing songs. So I grew up thinking, yes, I love singing, I love performing. So very quickly I said, I don't want to do pharmacy again. And I wanted to, my dad said to me, I don't want you doing arts. No one of you will do
I
arts.
can't imagine.
You
How can
have
you
to
come
do
from a
science.
family
So
of doctors
exactly.
and pharmacists and you want to do arts? What's that?
Exactly. So eventually, and I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to do petroleum engineering. He thought, okay, we're somewhere. But I was really horrible in physics and chemistry. Like, I would literally pray and fast to just even get like a C5. C4 is like, oh my goodness, you have really done something. But I was too afraid to try. Then eventually I came to him and I said, you know what? I think I want to study computer economics. My cousin at the time, my older cousin, had then boyfriend was studying that. He had studied that, and he seemed to be doing quite well. And I thought, you know what? Why don't there's a place for me? And he
Yes,
thought,
yes.
so I'm not keen on this economics, but the computer we can manage it. But then, after he passed, I quickly dropped the computer part
Yeah.
and just did my economics straight up. And that's what I did till,
Interesting.
I then had that switch. I've switched a couple of times
Yeah.
since then, but it's just been two switches to events and then into HR. So,
Interesting.
yeah. So I've been for me, change was my constant,
I see. So it's more like you followed the road, right?
Yes.
Wherever it led.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
yes.
you discover an interest and you explore it.
I explored it. Because one of the things that made economics easy for me was that I could get an A in economics with my eyes closed. I didn't even have to read much. So maybe I was being very lazy. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Actually, so I won't get into trouble as much with these parents who are so brilliant. At least I'll come back with A's. And my brother
Yes,
so he's
yes,
coming
yes.
back with A's for his physics, chemistry. It was really annoying following someone who was super intelligent.
imagine.
But it was interesting because I had to be very creative. So I was picking my subjects really well. If this subject doesn't like me, I don't want you. Like move.
I like
so
the way you put it. The subject
doesn't like
me.
it doesn't like me
Not
because
if you
I'm
don't
trying to
like the
understand.
subject.
There's a problem with the subject for it not making itself easy for me to understand. So I mean, I liked English. I love math, but I only loved math after I had a lesson teacher called Mr. King.
Oh.
It was like from one day it was night, and then when I had Mr. King, it was day. And so I did
Interesting.
math even up until A levels and foundation and all of that, and then even going into university with economics. So I stuck with those sorts of subjects: business studies, economics, and I quite enjoyed them. Yes.
Interesting. Sometimes when you allow things like ease, passion, enjoyment to help you, you can actually
Navigate.
find a path.
You will find a
you
path.
know? Because, sometimes I think of myself and I'm like, oh, maybe if I could turn back the hands of time, I wouldn't be an
You
engineer
did.
today.
No.
I'll just follow passion and then maybe do creative art or something in that direction.
Yes.
But then it was, hey, be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, something.
Exactly.
So I picked one of those that I felt was the easiest to
And
achieve.
you were smart at it. If I was an engineer, I would be terrible. Nobody would work with me.
Yeah. So it's beautiful to see how you navigated
Yes.
that path and how there was some resistance, but you worked with it, right? So yes, there's a place for that. Okay, so now from science to economics, and then from economics to, you said, events.
Yes.
What on earth was happening with events?
So I moved by many things. I moved by music. I moved by things I watch. So I have to be very careful what I listen to and what I watch. But I watched a film called The Wedding Planner. It had Jennifer Lopez when I was really young. And when I watched it, I said to myself, this is what I should be doing. At this point, I knew I didn't have the guts to tell anybody that. So it was just a very quiet dream. But when I got into England, I thought, you know what? I'm going to watch that film again. I'm going to look at all that it had. So I even used to draw up like my office. I had this brown massive book where I would draw up, go to wedding expos there, and I thought, this is a good thing. But because I was studying economics and I knew I kind of had to follow it, so I've always had that. You know how people say there's a divide between being analytical and being very creative? I think that has always been my struggle, because in all of these things I would write music, and I've written over 100 songs. I've written for kids. I've written about 15 songs, and I would write it down to first verse, chorus, second verse, bridge, ramp, intro. And then I play instruments. But
Wow.
at the time, I thought, I've studied economics. You're leaving. What do you want to do? And I felt like the smartest people that study economics would either be investment bankers, right? Or
Yes.
asset managers. So I felt like that's what I needed to do to still prove that I was super intelligent. So I went in. When I moved back, I moved back into that field. And then I worked in an asset management company, ARM at the time, big company. And I was excited to be there for a couple of years. And afterwards, I just felt like this event was hanging around me. I was now at the age where people I knew were getting married, and I found that I was very excited to have those conversations. There's some topics that if you wake me up just to talk about them, I'm very happy. I won't be
I can
angry.
imagine.
You know, one of them being having a baby, just being with you in your labor
Oh
room.
my
I
goodness.
enjoy, these are the kind of things I enjoy, helping new moms, helping people when they get married, helping people grow. Where do you need to be? What's happening? Your boss did what? This is where I come alive. I would wake up. And another one at the time was just planning people's weddings and saying, this is, how can we make your day the best day ever?
Wow.
So as I was leaving AM, I thought to myself, Toun, if you're ever going to try events,
This is the time.
this is the time. You know, try. At that point, I was I was still quite young. Yeah, I need to stop this. Yeah, so I was still quite young, and so I jumped into the event space.
Yeah, it's interesting. Before you go further, it's interesting how you can take those chances when
Yes,
you're
when you're younger.
alone, when
Yeah,
you're
when you're-
single,
yeah.
when you're like, well, I can do whatever. If it doesn't work, it's just me,
Yes, exactly,
And I
exactly.
think sometimes singles miss out on that opportunity because it's the time to just really try stuff, be
Explore.
adventurous. But some people are so focused on I want to get married, and while they're waiting, not much else is happening.
Yeah.
So I think the message here is remember to live, remember
Yes,
to
yes.
try stuff, remember to
Yes.
be adventurous, make the
Yes,
most of your
yes.
single days.
Yeah. People always say it's interesting you mentioned that because I mean I work with a lot of younger people and they always say to me that you've lived such a full life. My life has been so full from good, bad, ugly, in turns. And I can tell and weave a story through each and every one of them. And at the core of it, one of the things that, makes me very comfortable now is that I realize that I'm not the one charting this, narrative, that there's someone else, there's a bigger force that is charting that narrative. And before where I would be so anxious and say, what is my next step, God? I'm starting to realize that, actually, you took me through, I've gone through some crazy stuff and you've literally brought me here. So
Why am I
if
worrying?
you've made this,
It's not as if I was the one who told you to make some of those other victories happen. So.
exactly. So it's a lot easier now, where I just realized that last, it will be all right. Because I know I can trust the one who has me. I can't trust myself because feelings, emotions, and lots of things get in the way. But eventually I know that no matter the wrong turns I make, he will right those wrongs.
Yeah.
It may cost me some time, but if he chooses for it not to cost me some time as well, fantastic,
Wow.
So
Wow.
yes.
Interesting. Okay. So now, around this time, people were getting married around you.
Yes.
So let's see. Did you have to wait a while before? Okay, let's put it like this. Did you have a particular age?
Yeah, of course. I wanted to get engaged 24, get married 26.
And did it happen that way?
Yeah. I got married at 20, just as I turned 28, if I'm correct.
Okay.
Yeah, just as I
So
turned
that's like
28.
2
So 2 years after.
after.
But I wanted all this when I was much younger. It
Okay.
seemed very cute. Like just 2 years. You plan it all out. You have your babies early. You can be like Gilmore Girls, if you
I like
love
the way you're
Gilmore
putting
Girls.
it. I know
Imagine,
Gilmore Girls.
I was like, yeah, I'll have this. Everything will just, sort of work out. But it didn't happen that way. And by the time I got into my 20s, I actually found that I wasn't desperately looking. I actually wasn't. It was one of those things that if it happened, that would be great. I enjoyed my life. I enjoyed the things I was doing. I was working. I could travel once a year. I had to be very strategic in that once because if you book it during summer, the prices will not like you.
Yes.
So I had
planning,
to be,
right?
yes, my own travel time was October. I will save my money all year, plan for it. So I had a decent
So you were not
life.
waiting for a guy to come into your life and take you on vacation. You planned your
No,
vacation.
I mean,
even while you were
yes,
still
I
single.
planned my vacation. Yes,
Yeah,
I planned my
okay, so-
vacation.
All the single ladies, are you people hearing what I'm hearing? let me take a few comments before I come back to that thought. Okay, so let's see. Debbie says my parents though. Oh,
They
my
thought-
parents thought that I would be a doctor, but to their surprise,
Ah,
I went into
Finance.
the finance. Interesting, Debbie. My friend says, growing up, did you have disagreements with your
Of
parents trying to find
course.
your path? Oh, yeah.
Of
Or
course.
trying to figure out what road what you're good at. How did you handle it?
Of course, I did. I mean, I
Yeah,
mentioned
you
a few.
mentioned, yeah.
Yes, and I think even with events, there's an uncle of mine that struggled, and he said to him, I don't see you like running a business. I don't see you. I know your parents. I see you doing a 9 to 5, and I was just like, really.
Really?
Really? And he said,
Did
I
he
think
really
this
have
is
to
what
say
your
that?
mom, and he tried to insinuate that's what my mom thought as well. But I mean, she never voiced it to me, out to me. But I was very headstrong. I was going to do the things I wanted to do. I wasn't leaning on anyone for my day-to-day source of income. So it was, but I wanted to try things out. And it's weird because now I'm still much older. I'm now much older, but I always love to try new things.
Yeah.
I'm constantly learning, regardless. And I think that's something that they now understand. Tommy's going to try as many things as possible. And, so when I come, it's like, oh, yeah, it's coming with a new idea, a new thing. But as long as you're not trying it and then leaning on them and saying, I need you to supply all my needs according to your riches, then, then,
I like the way you put
it's not a problem. They would allow you to figure it out and explore.
Yeah. I want to point something out there. I was just asking, did he have to say that? Sometimes they feel they are helping you,
Yeah.
right? So they say something based on some limited view they have of you. So yes, when you're listening to some people who say they care about you, they love you and stuff, listen objectively and
Yes.
pay attention. Is this person trying to place a limit on me? Is this person defining my capacity and saying,
Yes.
I don't see that you are able to do anymore?
Exactly.
Even if they were right, maybe you can take that as a challenge and
Yeah.
decide, I will break this barrier. I will change this impression that people have about me. Because you're speaking of your uncle, and there was actually an uncle too in my story who, at the time I was trying to get admission into university, my admission letter didn't come on time, and I went, because he was working in university, one of the universities in the East, I reached out to him to say, can you help me? This is my result. For goodness sake, I had 9 A's and 1 C.
Ooh.
Do you understand? I had a good score in JAMB. I brought this, and I was thinking the guy would say, oh, fantastic. Let me see what I can do.
Do.
Do you know what this guy told me?
What?
He said, oh, your result is not good enough. You can only do education with this.
What? With 9 A's and 1 C?
Yeah, with 9 A's
Maybe it
and
was
1
the
C.
C. The C was the problem.
Probably.
The C was problem. What was the C in? Was it like English or math?
It was in, what was it? One of those languages.
We can do without the C. Yeah.
So you can imagine that. And then we went to a school in the north, and then ended up, the VC there was like, fantastic results.
Exactly.
Behold, chemical engineering.
Exactly.
So really, if I was to listen to him, I'd just go, oh,
Yeah.
and okay, let me do English
Yeah,
education
yeah.
or something education. But you see, so yes, it's good to be stubborn sometimes.
It's good to be stubborn.
It's good to say, yes, you have drawn this line, but I will cross it.
I will cry. Yeah,
In fact,
sometimes
I'll
it
cross and
pushes
cross many
you.
others. Yes.
It pushes you to go. And then
Exactly.
sometimes there may be some truth
Yes.
to what they're saying,
So
as
acknowledge.
well. And I agree that in hindsight, I think that there was some truth to what he was saying.
So
Not because I think, event was not for me. I did events for 3.5 years, and I only left events because I had a personal issue on the job, But it led me to where I am now.
Yeah.
And more than anything, no one has said to me, oh my goodness, Toun, this isn't what you're supposed to be
what
doing.
about the 9 to 5 part?
Yeah, I actually went back into back to 9 to 5. So what happened, and this is a bit, personal, I had a miscarriage during an event. Like an event spurred it on. It was a traumatic event, and actually at that point, the last event I actually fully did. And then I had a miscarriage, and then in 2 days, that was the end. And I just for some reason just felt like, what, I cannot do this to myself again. And so at the time I went around, I'm always constantly trying to learn about myself, doing personality tests, trying to figure out who I am, how I can be better, the things that will pull me down, the things that push that I enjoy, and just making sure that they're right. And I did one of those career tests, and it's interesting, because now I get a lot of people that I am coaching to do career tests. First of all, let's even figure out who you are, what your strengths, your weaknesses are, how you would work with subordinates, managers, colleagues, etc., what sort of work habits you will have, your best sort of roles. And for me, I actually mentioned that my best sort of roles were teaching, training, counseling, coaching, and I just thought, and then one of them was in HR, and I thought, oh my goodness, HR actually covers training, teaching, counseling, coaching, I need to, at that point, this was while I was still mourning the loss of the baby.
So
I
you
just,
decided it was time to
I just
pivot.
applied. I just applied for a master's immediately. Immediately. I did not
That
wait.
was quite spontaneous.
I'm very quick at making changes. I've changed schools. I always joke and tell people I went to 2 primary schools, 2 secondary schools. Well, I went to only 1 university, but 2 A levels. I'm very good at. We can make changes. I'm happy to. Let's cut it, snip it, rip the Band-Aid, move. You know.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so-
That's really interesting. Okay. So now that we have gotten down to the 2 years beyond what your target date was. Okay, we're going to look into that a bit. But let's look at this comment coming from Charming African Folk Tales. Oh my goodness. Charming African Folk Tales Story. Thank you for
I love the
joining us
name.
today. It says, how would your life be different if you had different dominant thoughts?
What does that mean? Had different dominant, or if I...
Maybe. So, I guess. Please clarify. Let's not try to figure out what you're saying. Please clarify. Let's know.
Charming
what you mean.
African. Yes.
And then Fred said it's sweet to be wisely stubborn.
Yes.
Wisely.
Fred.
I like that part.
Exactly.
New things are birthed when you break rules and limitations. Fred.
Said not arrogant,
It's
so...
good to be wisely stubborn, not arrogant. So yes, not arrogant.
Yes.
The part about the wisdom in your being stubborn is not disregarding whatever feedback you got.
I got.
Because sometimes people say, I don't care, or to hell with whatever you said. No. Actually sit down and think about it. What is it about me that made this person say I am suited just for 9 to 5?
9 to 5. Actually, it was, now I remember, it was an uncle and an aunt. And this aunt was someone she's late now, but I really looked up to. I was quite close to her. She said, I don't see you in business. I see you in as a corporate person. I thought that was very interesting.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. So acknowledge and then look within and then decide, okay, if I want to go ahead with this other path, these are things I need to do. It's more like the people are giving you input of possible failures.
Yes, that's it.
So how do you plug those holes and make sure you don't realize the failure they were afraid of? Yes. So, okay. So 2 years waiting for Mr. Rice to show up.
Yes.
First of all, how was this wait? Were you doing anything to enhance or enable being found, or were you just chilling, or what were you really doing? How was that journey
It's
to
interesting.
finding Mr. Right?
This is such a public place. So, I mean, I was dating. I was in, I had like a relationship, and I was in that relationship. But I also, I knew my husband at the time, and he was someone that was a friend, was also a colleague. Very interesting. Yes. But, and then when that relationship did not pan out, I had taken a short break. But I had, interestingly, had a dream. But I'm also very careful because I dream a lot. But I also realize that sometimes your emotions can influence your dream. But I had a dream, and it sort of changed a couple of things. Because at that point, we're getting closer. So I didn't do anything, or I didn't do much with the dream. Then we started talking. We started saying, okay, where are we? Where are you? Where am I? And all of that. I was a bit nervous to just jump into things at the time. And then something happened. I was in youth church at the time, and it was when we still had environmental. There was a day.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes, we don't have environmental. So my youth church, one of the things that we used to do to make sure that we would lock. I don't think that was what the plan was, but low key, I feel like the plan was to make sure that they lock you in and you cannot leave for 3 hours. So you come in at 7.
Yes.
You can't leave because there's nothing happening anywhere until 10. And so we had a little program that day, and we had someone that came from outside, and he was sort of praying, and then he started saying something, there's someone here, and I thought, there's someone here, So I was joking because I was in the choir at the time, and I thought, if there's someone here, say the name. And he said, there's someone here. I think her name is Toun. And I freaked out. Lord, I was just, So I couldn't move, and then he said, maybe is it Toun? Maybe it's not Toun. Toun, and then he goes, maybe it's Shale. And then is there a Toun here? Maybe it's Shale. He started to think, and then someone was like, and then people were like, Toun, but I had frozen, and he said, "Oh my goodness, you're torn," he just said, "Oh, God said to tell you that He will give you clarity," and it was very, very good because I didn't want him putting any business out there. I thought, I don't know who you are, you don't know me. Why? Just said, God said to tell you, I'll give you clarity. Now, what was so interesting was that my husband came for that program. He came, and he came. It was on the mainland. He came all the way from the island before 7 just to get there, and was there till 10. So when he said, God said to tell you, I'll give you clarity, I knew. But I still, again, wanted to be sure, wanted to be, let's be sure. And my husband, he said to me, he said, what do you think the clarity was on? I was like, I don't really know. Yeah, literally. I don't know. Exactly. But I think he sensed it. And it took a couple of months. I had to go on my annual travel that I go for in October. And so I went for the annual travel because I felt like we needed space. We become very close and I wanted to be sure. Because for some reason, I felt like that next person was going to be it. I was so sure, but I was like, Lord, I'm going to do this right. Let's get this right. Let's be sure. I was coming back to a place where I was reconnecting with God at the time. So I was like, yeah, I want to get this right. So I went to England at the time. When I was in England, I knew. So when I came back, I then said, you know what? Yeah, it's time. I'm ready. Yeah. So that was it.
So let's see. How was the proposal? Let me be funny now. Did he do like some people do these days and stand on the road and gather market people?
No, thank
so that they
God.
will join him and ask him? Or did he call family and friends and stuff, and create one beautiful scene and ask you? Or was it private? How was it?
It was very private, but before the proposal, I'm going to say, and it's very interesting, we didn't do things the normal, or I guess I'm not sure what is normal, but the regular, what people are used to, because I had done my introduction before we did a proposal. Yeah, but how I knew that he was serious. I knew he was serious, and I'm sure it doesn't always happen because some people can take you and say they are serious, and they may not be serious, just be carrying you up and down the place. But there was a day he was. We were close. We were very close. We were spending all the time, most of our time together. And we got into, my mom lives on the mainland, and we got into the mainland one day, and I think he came to the mainland. So we're driving around. He said, I think we should look at venues. That was, so for me, I would say that was my proposal.
Wayo people. Don't worry, it's Wayo.
That was my proposal. I'm saying Wayo? Why? Is that what?
This is, you should look for venues. That is like I have jumped 2 steps or something.
Jumped 2 steps.
So it's not even a matter of will you marry me or not.
Yeah. Yes.
If you are against this, then say no. For a venue for what?
For
I'm
what?
not looking for any venue with you. That way, it doesn't have to feel like you said no to him.
Yes,
do you understand?
yes.
It's how some other people were saying, can you give me this finger? And it took a few more hours for me to realize that was the proposal.
The proposal, can you give me this?
Let's just believe in them, shall we?
But we actually looked for the venues that day. Exactly. So it wasn't can we look for? We drove to 2 venues that we thought we would like. We chose one at the time, but we didn't actually end up getting married there because I've always been led, and we can say, oh, Toun is moved by emotions, but I think I've always been led. So when I go into a place, the venue we ended up choosing, I saw it first. It wasn't done. It was not completed, but I said, I'm getting married here. And they were like, but the place is not done. They don't even have like a proper road, no pavement, no nothing. I said, they'll be ready by my wedding. By my wedding, they had done a wedding. And so my wedding was the second wedding that they did, and we got married there. But it was same mainland, same vicinity. It was in Oregon at the time. Yes, it's still there now. So that was it. But went to 2 venues, so I felt like I knew he was serious. Yeah. I knew he was serious, and we carried on. Yes.
Okay, this is cool. Let's see. Okay, we have the question rephrased by Charming African Folk Tales. Okay, we'll start with Kiki Diamond's comment or question. Do you ever really do anything out of your own conscious choice, or are we always controlled by some external stimulation or motive?
I think that, when we say choice, first of all, again, because I am quite spiritual, I recognize now that a lot of things are already inbuilt in me, and even though God has given me the choice to make a choice, really, I find that a lot of the things I enjoy doing, or my desires, are things that I believe he has put in me even before I even recognized it. And so I'll give you an example. During COVID, I'm such an active person. I have so much energy that COVID was so good for me, but also so bad. Good for me because, like the rest of the world, I could slow down, but bad because I refused to slow down, And so it was COVID that I started learning French. I started French classes. I did Duolingo. I'm on day 1,000 and something on Duolingo. Every year they tell me you are in the top 8%, top 6%, top 5% of learners. But it was also in COVID that I started learning to play the piano. And I got a teacher, and they would teach me via Zoom. And that's how I learned to play the piano. I started playing the songs I'd written, and I'd written for so long. COVID was also when I sent in my songs for applications, music things. COVID was also when I started and grew the business. So we can say, yes, I did all these things myself. But if I'm being honest, I also recognize that playing the piano was something I should have learned since. I also recognize, because my son plays, and he plays classical music.
Wow.
Fully. Like, he doesn't even look at the piano. Thank God for that. But I only play chords. So I know that it was something that I should have learned, but I never did. Right? Learning French is something that I've always wanted to learn. And I tried it once. Oh, I was so annoying. I had this CD thing. I'll be reading it everywhere. Anytime someone spoke to me, I'll just be there. No, we. I was so annoying. But so do we do anything on our own? Yes, we do. We're allowed to make our choices. And some choices may work for us, some may not work. Some may be the right ones, some may not be the wrong ones. But one thing, which is why I always said, what I said earlier, that I always know that regardless of whatever choices I make, even when I make the wrong ones, I'm glad that I'm not doing life on my own. I'm glad that I am doing life with someone who knows the beginning, the end, the in between, and knows when I am going to mess up, because on a daily I am constantly messing up, So I hope that answers your question, Kiki Diamond. But yes, we're allowed. People are making their own choices, but not being led, and that is fine. It may work for some, it may not work for others. But at the same time, if you look at people that you say, okay, and it's not even about being a Christian, you find that some people have built some amazing solutions. And they tell you that I got the solution in a dream. A lot of my songs have come in dreams. My husband is so used to me waking up, and I can't speak to anyone because I really have to record what I got in the dream. Because once I speak, it's out of law. It's gone. And so I recognize that we may say, oh, if I didn't really know God, I have to recognize that I'm not in control of my dreams, and something put that song, in there. And so people have come up with solutions. I have ideas just by meditating, and those ideas, I will be able to write them down. So I recognize that, because I also realize that I'm so limited, I am so restricted, I'm not that brilliant, I'm not that sharp. I know that it's not down to me and me
Just
alone.
you, yeah.
So okay. I hope that helps, at least from my point of view.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Jimoski says, any regrets while growing up?
Oof. I need like 10 days just to go. On that. So regrets, a couple of things. So back to the piano one. When I was younger, I had mentioned I was in the choir. And there was a lady, my mom at that time, who had lost my dad. And a lady came up to,
How old were you when you lost your dad?
12.
Huh.
Yes.
We have a couple
Oh,
of
wow.
similar things. I lost my dad when I was 10.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah,
It's
losing them at that early age can be something.
it's a lot. It's a lot. So one of them, I think, so that music one, there was a lady who would come to my mom and said she wanted to pay for me to do music lessons and read music. Read music. But no, all my friends at the time were playing, and I just thought, I wanted to be in the choir where we're singing. I would just be sitting by myself, pressing, learning notes, a treble, a semi-cliff, riff. I was like, no, I'm not interested. And she didn't push it. And over the years, I've always felt like that was a massive mistake. Massive mistake. So when COVID came and I had the time, I went straight into it. I still can't read music. I don't want to say I'll never read music, because there's, you can do all things.
One day you wake up and say, okay, it's time to learn this one.
It's time. But I went back into playing the piano, and I feel like if I had learned to play music at the time, I would be very different. It's possible that I would not even be in the field that I'm in. I would just stick solely to my writing music and adult music, kids music, jingles. I would be doing that full time. At least more than I'm doing it now, So that's one regret.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so let's see. Which other one? Okay,
I
Kiki.
like
Kiki
Kiki's
says,
question.
"How have you dealt with past disappointments?"
Kiki, yeah, asking some really tough questions. So I'll give you one. 2 Fridays ago, my company was shortlisted, top six. We're meant to be pitching something, a new product that we're building. So this is in the people practice. We have this product called On Culture, and we're pitching it. So we'd gone into this accelerator program, female founders. They're taking
Yeah, the one
22
by
of
Lagos
us.
State
Yes, by
government. Yeah.
Lagos State. I was just like, Lord, look at you opening doors for me, you know. And we got to top six. And before we got to the top six, you know, a lot of people would say to me, I don't want to go after you, Toun. You pitch really well. So I thought I went in there feeling very
Oh my
strong.
goodness.
The week before we had mock interviews. That's when I thought, okay, you know what, there are really solid women here as well, you know, and you may have to do some work. We had to do a lot of work. We had to do a lot of changes. I went into my pitch so strong. I came off the stage with my pitch, and I thought, yes, the governor's wife was smiling. I thought, nailed it. I did not win. When they were even calling, when they started calling, when they were about to call first position, I had two girls come and sit beside me. It was amazing because one of them is Muslim, one is Christian. The one that's Muslim would say, we have it. You have it. The one that's Christian praying for me. And I thought, yeah. They were about to call first position. They didn't call me. It took me very short. You know, I realized, you know, when you're watching Oscar, and they start showing they're very wicked when they start showing all the nominees. It's very, why? Then they will now say, and the winner is, and they start showing them more. You know, as a nominee, you have to be very smart. So your face cannot be like, you have to be ready. So when they just did not call me as the winner, I just jumped up, held the girl that won because she's also my friend, hugged her straw because I couldn't even stand. Maybe I even needed her to hug me so I won't fall. But I held her, and then, you know, we started, and then lots of people came up to me. You know, people came up saying certain things. This was not your room. You know, some people would be like, oh, you really did a good job. We thought you would win. I thought you would win. I thought you would win. At one point, I even had tears in my eyes. And an older lady, she just came, when she started speaking to me, said, this wasn't your room. You know, I didn't think but this wasn't your room. Just know it. Go back. You know, just refuel, recharge, do everything. But I went home that day. I sent a message to my husband, and I said, I didn't win. And he said, okay, it's okay. And then a friend of mine who was actually in the building, so when I was telling her, they're calling the winners, you've got this, you win now, you win. When I sent her a message, I didn't win. I said, my friend, pack your things, let's talk away. You know, she was just joking. It was funny, but it wasn't funny. I was done. And the weird thing is that, you know how you feel like you need to cry. You need to just let out some steam.
Yes,
but you can't even cry because people are watching you.
Exactly.
And people are coming and having conversations with you, and you have to keep up that you have to just keep up that positivity. When I got home, it was not even a bit too late to cry well. I was sad. You know how you've kept your tears, but the tears are not coming again. I just put off the light. I told my husband, I said, you know what, I need to just lie down. Let me just lie down. We had something in church. I just sent a message to someone on my team. I can't make it today. I just need a proper sulk, good old sulk with God, and understand what happened, you know, and understand what went wrong. And maybe not quite what went wrong. Maybe even let him tell me that this wasn't for me. This wasn't the time. This was too soon. But I lay down. I was a bit down. My co-founder, she didn't want to hear from me that night. She was done. And if they're sad on my behalf, imagine how sad I am. I had to send the message on the group, congratulate the winners. I sent long speeches to the ones that didn't win. I said, we carry on, we keep building, we keep winning.
Wow.
You know, I had to send a message to the 22. I said, guys, I love how we've supported. Who said women can't support women? They were probably wondering, like, people were sending messages to, but I knew I needed to do it. To my team that had supported, and we had sleepless nights. Some nights we're sleeping at 2 a.m., just finishing this. I had to send them a message at 1 a.m. and say, guys, this was not our day. Our day is still coming, you know. And I'm sure they were thinking, they all just started putting emojis, but they're thinking, how on earth is she still typing? But I was down. But I realized that this is what builds character, and I felt like that was what God was saying. Like, well, how do you build character when things are so great? You build character through trials, through disappointments, and I just felt, I was down. Saturday, I went up and down, but I had to see a family friend of mine who had lost her dad. That is a much bigger issue than my not winning something at this point in time. I had to shelve it. I woke up on Sunday and I thought, What? Where is my joy? I told my husband, I said, it's hitting me today, hitting me today. But what helped me let it go was Monday, Tuesday, work started. You have to carry on. The building continues. Was I disappointed? Yes. Did I feel like, and I said to myself, you know what? We're gonna have a good, we're gonna spin this well. There's nice content. We have content to run for the next 3 months if we want. We have enough content.
Gleaning
Now,
from the experience,
and I started realizing that, you know what, the most important part was we're now known. We're now known. We're now more known than we were before, especially in the product, because the company is known, the product is new. And I said to myself, Toun, you went up against people who, that is their full time, and they're building and they're already getting revenue. You are still building and testing, and you got to top 6. Even among over people who are already getting revenue. That is a win. So you have to get your head out of your backside and change perspective. So in terms of, and I'm happy I'm able to give you a recent disappointment that is still not as sore as it was, you know, on that day. But Kiki, I hope that helped you. Yes.
Oh,
but character. I want that at the end of it, you see a Toun that is very rich because she's had so many things happen to her, and they've knocked her down, but she's not knocked out, you know.
And it's something to be able to still give people a positive feeling from their interaction with you. Even when you are in a place of, in quotes, disappointment or despair. You know, it takes a lot, right? So that would be a lot of emotional resilience and all of that you put in there. But
and just to add, as a true HR person, I'm always thinking, because I believe that going into interviews is always storytelling. So now I have an additional example to add when they say, tell me about a time when you faced disappointment or you did not quite get, I'm like, wait, hold on. How many do you want? Do you want 2, 3? I will give you, and I'll show you how I responded. I'll even screenshot, say, look at that. Look at me gingering people. People are like, Toun, how do you have the liver and the nerve? And I'm like, I need to do this now before it sinks in that I did not win, you know? And so everything adds up. Everything is part of our story, and you just want to get to the end and be better.
I know someone said if the story is positive all the way, like it's just that way. It kind of gets boring. It
does.
But you know, the trials bring about some treasure, some value, something. You know, I always say if it's really a terrible experience, something you wish you would never go through, but then you went through it, what do you do? How do you get up from it? Look for the value in it.
Yes.
And let that be the positive that helps you to keep moving forward.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Hey, time is almost over. Can you imagine?
Oh my goodness, I can't. I'm so.
Okay, so let me see. Now, from what we have seen about your profile, let's see. Darabani said, sorry, let's take that. Darabani said, I love this kind of proposal.
Very soft.
He says, will you say passion works in choosing one's career? Yeah,
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, and then Fred says, package your steez. Yes.
And part of that steez is small failure here or small setback, but you package it.
Kiki says, if you could only have 3 things on your life bucket list, what would they be? Wow.
I don't know. That quickly, you ask some very, very tough questions. I need to meet you. What does that, when you say your life bucket, give me an example. What would that be? Because, you know, if you say what's on my bucket list, things I want to do. Wow, I mean, this is a lot. One, it would be to, for now, children. Children. I'm very big on, so I have it'll be a mix of a couple of things. Right now, one of the things I'm trying to play around with is I realize that the best way to learn scripture is through songs, because that's how I learn scripture. It's how I crammed scripture through, do not repair club, salty kids.
Exactly.
So for me, it would literally be to create a repository of songs that are for kids where they can learn scripture or just learn good things. That's one.
That's how I teach my kids Bible verses.
That's it. That's it.
Just will put a rhythm to it, you know.
That's
and
it.
We all go ho, ho.
Exactly.
You know
That's it. And they remember. The second one is for me, work is really about culture? How do we improve the culture of work for people? People are having the worst times at work, and they spend so much time at work. And unfortunately, work defines a lot of people. So if you're having such a bad experience at work, it almost feels like that's your entire life.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it would be for me to improve culture at work across the world in a way where we are training leaders to be better, to be softer, kinder, more compassionate. We're training people to be also able to manage up better, and we're just training companies to be filled with happier, better engaged, more productive people, and just having better companies generally. That would be the second one. And the third one is I'm very big on women and the issues that women go with. I used to do something called Brave Tales, and it was for women and issues that they go through that they don't normally talk about. It would be great to see a world where, women, where youth are able to share their experiences and people can learn from it without anyone looking at them like, oh my goodness, you went through this or not. Just creating a world where people are able to share and learn more. That would be those things. Kiki, your question, give me simple, sweet questions.
Well, at least she has commended
I love
you
it.
for
I
your
love
feedback.
it.
She says, thank you so much. Your answer really helped a lot. Okay, so
I
yes,
like
at least after the difficult question, she gave you.
She did. No, it's good. Okay, Jamas.
Okay, Jimaski says, if you're to turn back the hands of time, hey,
That's a tough, but it's good. I mean, because what would it be? I think I don't know how much time do we have?
Say 5 minutes.
Okay, so I lost my dad very early, and we're very close, extremely close. A lot of things that I am is because I got from him. Obviously, I got a lot from my mom too, so she won't think, this one just pushed me aside. But I was so much. I had down to his, even this line.
Oh.
So we had the same lips, same stare, same, lots of things are from him. Also, same stubbornness, earlier on in life, but I'm a lot calmer now. I wish I didn't lose him that early. It'll be great because I always see people. And when I see people, I'm very good at speaking to people who've lost parents or loved ones. Because I've experienced loss a couple of times. From my dad to my favorite aunt to my second favorite aunt. So it's been to a best friend when I was young. So we've gone through a lot of rough patches. But I wish that my dad's one was very defining because it really just changed. It exposed us to sorrow. It exposed us to the fact that life wasn't all going to be all.
Before you go any further, I'm going to make an adjustment now. We have 30 more minutes.
Yay!
Yes, because there's so much. I mean, you're here now, so let's get all the value we can get from your being here. So I hope the crew is okay with that adjustment.
We love
so
the crew.
Sisterhood is
The
going
crew.
to be 1 hour 30 minutes. Yes,
Today,
but there's going to be value every step of the way. So yes. So let's
So with my dad's zone, and but now I feel like I now have to peel back. So my dad died in quite a horrible way. He was assassinated in front of us on Christmas Day. So I'm always wondering the joy I have, and I love Christmas so much now. The devil tried us to make Christmas a bitter, but I love Christmas. You see the way I plan for Christmas like months in advance. I've already bought my Christmas decorations, my Christmas candles. I love how I want the house to smell. For this year, I'm big on celebrating Christmas. Bring the entire family together. We watch Christmas movies. We do a lot. We sing. We play games. My kids don't even know anything like Christmas was not like this at a point. But because of that, it was such a defining moment. A lot of things you define from pre-dad to post-dad, and it took me a while, and because we were very close. Like, if I'm getting into trouble, he's going to punish me and say, Toun, you're going on a road trip with me. So one of my favorite memories was me and him driving all the way from Ife from Lagos to Benin. We did lots of Lagos to Ife, Lagos, me and him alone, and I'll just hang with people that he worked with. So I really got to know him the best I could as a child. But I wish he was here.
Yeah.
For different seasons. I may not have been able to study economics alone, so that would have been a massive problem. I'd have had to move out. But I miss that. I wish he was here, at my wedding. My older brother did a great job, giving me away, not giving me up, giving me away, and all of that. But I wish he was here. I wish he was here even for my mom as well, because immediately it changed a lot. My mom went from being soft life to being mother and father in one day.
Exactly.
And because of that, she wasn't always fully around because she had to work and she was a
Yes.
professor and she
Yes.
was in different universities. So she always had to travel to
Wow.
Abraka in Delta or to Ife or to Cross River or to Ogun State.
Wow.
So she was up and about. So, but when he was around, she was more, she was still lecturing, but, it wasn't as
Yeah.
much. So that is one defining moment. I wish that he was here. It'll be interesting. He would have said to me, Toun, like, really, why are you so scattered? Why all these many changes? What is good? Because he, from day one, he always wanted to be a medical doctor, and that was what he was. My mom has practiced pharmacy since, 1979, 1977 or 76, So that's what they know. So my older brother too has stayed and practiced medicine since he was born. And then Toun has done like 6 or 7 things. And I keep saying to myself, look, if HR really tries me, I have screenplays I've written. I will send them to Netflix. I've written 8 episodes.
Oh my goodness.
So I am that person who is very dynamic. Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack. So that's one thing that I would want to change. Just slow it down. He could, still he can go, because he was meant to go. But, give us like 10 more years, 20.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Some of those things, like you said, are defining.
Very.
Because you can see this is how we were going until this event, and then this is how we started going. And you know that the difference is that person is no longer in the picture.
Yes, yes.
So some of the ways things will unfold, you just wonder, what if this hadn't happened? So for instance, I feel that if my dad was still around, we probably would not have left Calabar. We may have been there for much longer, right? But because he wasn't there, somehow we just everybody started kind of finding their way out of that space. And
yes. Where's your mom now?
my mom she's gone back to now, but for a period she was in Abuja.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so we kind of moved up north, and all of that. So you just see how these things happen. But the fact is, life happens.
It does.
Right? But when it does, what do you do? How do you respond to it? Are you going to now start telling tales of woe everywhere? Oh, this happened, oh, that happened. Or are you going to say, okay, now that, then what? How am I going to adapt? How am I going to adjust? What do I need to do next? What do I now have to work with? Right?
That is
Especially when a father, for instance, was very critical in providing for the family.
Exactly.
So what do you do? How do we pick up after that?
You have to just be very creative. As you said, this provider, I just remembered, because my dad used to work in Pfizer. And one of the things that they did was that they gave us diesel, like 24. I don't remember, but we always had the gen on. And so I always knew, like, I knew life at the time with the gen on. And after he died, they gave us diesel a couple of, but everything started being rationed.
Yes.
My mom would say, you know what, the gen goes off at 10. Snap. And that's when DBN, if you remember DBN, if you're old enough to remember DBN, DBN will start a movie at 8 or was it 9? You know that movie is going to be 1.5 hours or 2. You are praying, bring the light, because that gen is going off. Sometimes they'll turn it off at 10. The light is not back. All of you are getting ready to go to sleep. 30 minutes later, they bring the light. You start running down. Of course, you've missed the massive plot.
Yes.
But it was so interesting. And then as we got older, my older brother and I could buy diesel. We'd pay for diesel. So it's a case of, okay, fine, mommy, the gen goes off at 10. We'll point our own diesel till 10:30, 10:45.
How come you could buy your diesel? What were you doing at that time?
I don't even, I'm wondering now. My older brother was doing some work. We were older.
Okay.
When we got older. Or by the time I went abroad, I was working. Coming back, I was always very rich now with the exchange rate.
I see.
That's my money. But I always had people taxing me. My younger brother, his friends, my cousin, my sister. So I came prepared, So we'll pay for a few things ourselves. My mom would just be like, waste of money. But yeah.
So where was Federal Calabar in the middle of
it? Was.
So that means you lost your dad while you were in Federal Calabar?
No. After I left. So I was only in Federal Calabar for 3 years. So JS1 to JS3. So when I moved to Atlantic Hall in SS1. So I moved there in
Okay, that's what you mean by
September
put
to
up on
December.
yourself.
Yeah, September to December. We lost him in December. So I had left, but it was so sad because everyone in Federal Calabar sent me, like they were just sending me letters at the time. Oh, we loved writing, as you know.
Yeah.
So it was terrible having to read their letters over and over again. It was sweet, but obviously hard because they
Yes.
knew me and knew me talking to my dad. My dad had come to school a couple of times. So it felt like, because I was now in a new school where they didn't really know me.
Exactly.
They didn't really know the person I was talking about, but Federal Calabar, they knew me. They knew
Yeah.
me. So it was tough.
Wow.
It was tough.
Wow, this is quite interesting. Okay, so we've talked about childhood, we've talked about. Okay, wait, let me ask you an interesting question. This is love side of things.
Yes, I know.
How did you know that your husband was the one for you?
It was, and I knew. Girl. So it was there, and then we'll drive home sometimes together, because we're like, I was staying in my friend's house, so it's either he's driving and a couple of us may drive home together, depending. And so we became closer. We would have conversations. I would ask him stuff, he'll ask me stuff. So we knew that we were friends. Then by the time I had the dream, I knew something was off. So I
Okay.
guess God was also doing something in his heart, or he was feeling his own. He was feeling his own as well, because I knew that something was changing. So, but I wasn't ready at the time because I had just come out of a serious relationship. So I was thinking, what am I doing? What am I sure of? I need to take time. So I felt like for the first time, I needed to take time out. I just not pause and then go slowly into it. But by the time I had that clarity, that saying that you receive,
yeah.
I knew. I was like, Lord, I mean, how much clearer can you be?
Interesting.
But I still took time out, traveled, and when I traveled, I missed him a lot.
A lot.
I missed him a lot. We would still chat, but I missed him so much. We sent emails. It was so cute reading emails.
Yeah.
We didn't have. It's not like now that everything is so short and microwave.
Exactly.
Microwave hi. BRB. No, then you have to say everything.
The full thing.
The full thing in the email. So what are you doing? Early in the morning, they're already
Explain what's
emails.
happening.
Yes. So that was, so
you
I
went through
missed
the
him,
day.
and that was how I knew that I'm going to start dating him. But it was very clear. I already knew that whoever I was dating at that time, it was going to be serious, which is why I wanted to pause and be sure.
Yeah.
And then there was a period when I was like, I'm still thinking, and then I spoke to someone, and she was like, maybe you should take some time out and not speak with him. So what does that mean? I can't not speak with him. Toun, therein lies the problem.
When you're so used to like this person, right? This person, like I can remember for myself and my husband, there was this time in school when, like at the end of each day, we're just talking. It was like debrief. And funny enough, we still do it till now.
Every day, right?
Yeah. So I just come back and tell him, oh, what happened here, what happened there, this one, and he wasn't even an engineering student. So imagine me telling him about something, an assignment, or what one lecturer did, completely, but he would listen. So for me, it was, this person always listens.
Always
What's part of
yeah.
it. This person always listens. So when we were going to be apart, for a period, I was thinking, who is going to be listening to me? I mean, somebody would say, really? Oh yeah, but really?
Really,
That was
exactly.
so important.
Yeah.
Who is going to listen?
And now I've gotten used to this, This is a lifestyle I'm now accustomed to.
This whole thing,
Yes.
Or sometimes maybe he's just passing by or something, stops by the window, because of where I was schooling, guys weren't allowed to come into the hostel.
Oh, nice.
So we used to have a lot of window, some people call it window shopping, window chats, window whatever. So, but through the net, this guy would be able to tell something is up, and he's like,
wow.
what's wrong? Something, and I'll be like, he gets me,
Yes.
I don't really need to say so. Oh
wow.
my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so good.
So it's some of these things are, because friendship is one of the things that you have highlighted here. You guys being so close, being friends, getting to know each other, and because there was you didn't start out with go out with me, full stop.
Yeah.
There's this thing about friendship that is tricky, because initially you don't know, you're just being friends.
Yeah.
So you're speaking freely,
Free,
and
very
you are saying
freely.
everything, and this person gets to know you for who
Yes,
you are,
yes,
right?
yes.
Then if they can know you and like you and love you for who you are, then isn't that the best deal?
Best. Best,
Because the
best. Because then you
surprises are
have the
very few
very
by the time
few,
you get into the
very
marriage,
few.
because you already know this person to a great
I
extent.
agree, I
You
agree.
know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can even yab them for a number, because you yab is like when you tease
Tease,
somebody,
exactly. So it's
about
good.
some stuff. Yeah, it's all
Yes.
part of friendship, which is really good. It helps the relationship. Now, have you found in your marriage that there are some times that, let's see, have you ever experienced something? You don't have to tell me what it was, but I'm just testing, where you felt it is only because this guy is my friend. This one has passed. It's almost as if it was just love. I may not be here in quotes, right? But friendship kind of makes you stick with this person through some kind of
Yes,
situations.
I think
Do you ever
everyone
feel?
goes through I think everyone goes through that, right? I think for us, we've been very blessed. To be fair, we've been very blessed, and I can't say that I can't say that enough. But at the same time, you go through things and you're thinking, okay, okay, I did not see this, I did not know this, and I'm sure it's the same for him as well, because you can't fully know someone, regardless of how many years you've been together,
Yeah.
fully well. When you get married, it's a new thing. You're both rediscovering yourselves and discovering yourselves as a
The married
couple.
version,
Yes,
exactly.
a married version. So, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think everyone does.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone does.
It's interesting, and when you have friendship as a foundation, it kind of makes the journey a little easier.
Easier.
And the way you sorted things out as friends, because when you were friends, nobody was saying, "I am the head in this relationship, so you must do what I say." You people were
We're just friends.
Yeah. Issues came, you sorted it
Sorted
out
it out.
without somebody
Together.
saying you're supposed to keep quiet and listen, or I have the final say,
My
or
way
all
or the
those other.
highway.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Those
no,
things
no,
will come
yeah.
up. So you bring it's like that model continues even in the marriage.
Yes,
and
it does.
It feels like it is a more, should I say, welcoming / inclusive /
Environment.
exactly,
Exactly.
for
Exactly.
both parties.
Exactly.
So the woman is not feeling like, oh, I don't have a
Say,
say.
my voice
He
doesn't
doesn't
count.
exactly. Yeah. So
None
I
of
I think that's what I see a lot in relationships that started out
as friends.
friendships,
Yeah, friendships.
or where they took time to build friendship
and know each other
Yes.
first.
Yes, because even if you started with, "Oh, you're so beautiful," like love at first sight, what's that? Cupid struck me.
Struck me, yes, the arrow. Pum pum.
Yeah, but you still take time to build the friendship. It goes a long way. Okay, all right. So let's see. You are CEO and all of that. You are singer, songwriter. You are piano playing
Yes.
human being. You are. Let's see. All these things that we've talked about. Now, wife, mother. How is motherhood
In
with
all of
all
this.
this?
Oh, I love motherhood. I do. I really enjoy being a mom. First of all, I'm not sure how COVID would have been, if I didn't have those kids. Maybe I would have done more learnings, But I enjoy being a mom. I think one of the things that my kids get to see is a well-rounded mom. I want them to be able, my kids are very vocal. I'm quite vocal. And even in the generation that we grew up in, I was always being told, my friend, be quiet. My mouth was always sharp. My dad used to call me, click, 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 click. That's what he used to say to me, because that's how I used to call my younger brother. Click, 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 click. My younger step. I was very, but my kids are as vocal as I am, and we encourage them. So they ask a lot of why, they question. I even have a book called Quotable Things That My Kids Say, because I think that they give the best clap backs. They give, they are the best, But then, they always say, Mommy, you're always in a meeting. Mommy, you're always, first of all, you first of all have the mom guilt. You think, but after a while, I'm thinking that's not true. I spend so much time with you guys. It may not be every day where I'm actively spending much, but as a collective, I spend a lot of time with you guys. We play, we have Friday night parties, we have,
Friday night.
Friday
What's
night.
that like?
Oh, it's dancing to music.
Really?
Yes, watching a movie that on Sunday, or mostly. So they really enjoy. I spend time. It may not be as much time as they would like because
Yeah.
they would want me to be just, with them 100% of the time, focused on them. But that's not how life is. I'm also
Yeah.
trying to prepare them for the real world. No one is going to give you 100% of your time, not even your mommy.
Yeah.
So get used to it. But they see me be all that I can be. They see me play. They see me laugh. They see me eat. They see me work. They see me exist. They see me have different communities that I am in. They see me have different friends. They always say, "Mommy, you know too many people." They always. I'm like, actually, you people will know a lot of people because you go through different phases of
Yes.
life, and you carry all these people,
Exactly.
and some will become very close, and you take them with you. So they're always saying, "Mommy, you know," and I said, "But you know too many people in school. You mentioned like 60 people on a regular. If you had to call everyone, it's
Yeah.
like so you also know too many
You're on your own.
people. So
You're on your
yes,
own journey of
you're on your own
building a
journey.
huge network.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to introduce date nights, and I had said to them, one, I'll take one person at a time, and then we'll just go out because they enjoy that, just having conversations where it's all about them.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure they will talk my
Wait,
ear
do you
out.
do one at a time
Yeah,
or?
so it's one at a time.
Oh
That's
my
the plan.
goodness,
Because I
that's
saw some lady
beautiful.
put it up, and I thought, my goodness, this is such a
Yeah,
great
yeah, yeah.
idea. My husband does that. He takes, one of them. He'll take my older son, go take but he loves taking them one at a time, and then leaving one with me. Most time when you leave that one with me, I'm just like, yeah, 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 read a book. I'm reading too, But now I want to actively go somewhere with them. So it's almost like,
Yes.
yes, I've taken you out. What do you want to eat? Blah blah blah. What do you want to talk about? What are the things that I do that, and then every day we have, how was your day? But we try and do it in a very interesting way. Then we have this pack of cards. I love games. I'm just banned from playing lots of games because I'm very competitive. But one of the things so the cards have questions. So it's just little thing, and there's a version for kids. So they have it, and then they pick something else, and they have to say, and then I have to say. So it's a nice way to get them to really, really think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kids. But yeah, we
Oh,
try.
interesting.
We try. We
Interesting.
try.
Okay, so let's see. Do we have any more comments here? Let's see. What are your values?
Wow. Oh, those are some tough ones. I think, so for me, a lot of the values, so I think the first one is growth. Growth not in the way of I want to grow and become this. I think growth for me personally, I want a situation where you say, oh my goodness, Tony, you were not like this last year. Like you really improved. Or maybe you used to be so angry and now you're not. Or you were so self-centered and now you're not. Or your response to this is completely different. So I think growth is it for me, but growth also because I love reading.
Yeah.
I read, I listen to podcasts. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly creating courses, and you can only create courses from or write books from things that how you're exposing yourself. So I think growth is such a big thing for me. Staying Then another one is staying true to my source. For me, my source is God, because that's the only way I can become the best version, not the version that the world wants, but the version that
Your creator.
in my creator wants me to be. Because sometimes we're so successful and we're doing so many things, and we're completely misaligned to what he has planned for us. So I'm reading one of the best books ever, Purpose Driven Life, yet again. I'm on day 32. There are 40 days, but I think it's a book. I think it's the book after the Bible. That's the book. I have many books I like, but after the
Interesting.
Bible, just put it as the book. Yeah, so that's it. I'm always trying to grow. So those two things.
Interesting. That's beautiful. Okay. All right. Okay. So
Oh wow.
it's been a very rich discussion, and I want to ask a question now. What would you say to a young lady out there who has experienced some kind of significant loss and is just wondering how to move on? Maybe not just a young lady, but some lady out there who has experienced significant loss. What would be your short message to them on how to move forward and get over it?
It gets better. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Most times we're very far away from the tunnel, from the end, so we may not see the light, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I encourage people to grieve. I was just telling someone the other day that it would be nice to have a room where we just come and people cry. And people are like, oh my God, so really? But I think it's such a healthy thing for people to do. Just grieve at the right time.
Yeah.
There's no wrong way to grieve. There's nothing.
Yeah.
But always remember that it gets better with time. Over whatever the thing is, you'll get to a period where you can look back and smile and say, I don't really understand why that happened,
Yeah.
but it's okay. And then eventually you get to a point where you say, in hindsight, I can see why that happened. I can see that, I was being set up for something else.
Yeah.
So you go through those different stages, but it does get better with time.
All right. Final thoughts. Yay! Final thoughts.
Me?
Yes.
Wow. Well, it's been a lot. I'm not even sure what the final thoughts are. Final thoughts, I would say that we are all very dynamic. We're not created in one way. And that we should explore being all that we can be. We're all that we can be in different ways. So just because you're an engineer or you're a doctor doesn't mean that you can't do other things. It's nice to see. I think those other things help you to be better. When you mix and match all the different gifts, all the different experiences, all the different talents with the personality that you have. So that's my final thought.
Okay.
Be all that you want to be. We're all dynamic. So be dynamically you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
so much,
you.
Toun. But before I wrap up my appreciation, I noticed something from Debbie. Debbie says, I can relate with losing someone, especially today, losing a friend.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Debbie, so sorry about that.
I'm
accept
so
our
sorry. That is
condolences
tough.
yeah, we're
That
praying
is
that God will
tough.
help you to heal. Remember,
Yes.
Debbie, like Toun said, it's really okay to unbottle, just like unburden, like just allow those emotions. If it's cry, you need to cry. If
Yeah,
it's pray, you need to
unbox.
pray. But please don't stifle the emotions.
And keep it all
because
in.
doesn't help.
And
Yeah.
run away from people that say, don't cry, stop crying. No, you should actually cry it out. But I pray that you heal soon, and that God just brings comfort to everyone that knows her family, her friends as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And Fred says something I think is rather. He says light at the end of the tunnel. The engineer should be fired. Then he says, I'm kidding, actually.
Yeah,
Fred.
actually.
Thanks, Fred. Okay, all right. So thank you so much.
Thank you so
I
much.
think this has been rich and this has been full. And there's
Yes.
so much to take away from your life. One thing, keep learning. That stood out so well. Keep learning. Another thing, be willing to try new things because
Yes.
you never know which one will really be like, yes, this is
Exactly,
it.
exactly.
And then stay positive in spite of what life throws at you. Whatever you go through, remember there's light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you so much for being our guest on Sisterhood.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you to the crew, everyone who's coordinating this and making this work. And in this day and age, we have to thank the power people, whether it's NEPA or the generators, and you have to thank the network, the internet people, because to do a live show in Nigeria, yes, it takes a miracle sometimes. So we are really grateful to God for this. Thanks to everyone who joined us online, and to everyone who is going to watch this show later. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Remember to like, remember to share, remember to subscribe. And look out for the next episode of Sisterhood. We do this once every month. So look out. We'll be bringing you another very special guest sometime next month.
Thank you.
God bless you. Have a good time. And remember, like we always say, common sense is not so common.
It's not.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you once again for joining us. We hope you got great value today. Our goal is to bring you valuable information to help you make better decisions in your life and relationships. Please do not forget to subscribe, share, and like.